So, in the past week, following the death of our beloved monarch Elizabeth II, I felt like there was one episode of Doctor Who that I wanted to re-watch. Now, apparently, Queen Elizabeth was actually a Doctor Who fan, which rather surprises me. I don't know if she was just a social watcher, just kind of watching it occasionally, or whether she was an avid fan. I have no idea. But the episode that I felt I wanted to re-watch in kind of her honour was the 2006 episode The Idiot's Lantern. This was the 7th episode of New Who's second series, first broadcast on the 27th of May 2006. The episode in question saw the 10th Doctor, played by David Tennant, and his companion Rose Tyler, played by Billie Piper. They're aiming to head for New York in the late 1950s in order to see a performance of Elvis Presley at Ed Sullivan TV studios. Unfortunately, they end up, I guess, undershooting, as they instead end up in London at the borough of Muswell Hill in 1953, where everyone is very excited and everyone is getting a TV, even though Rose said that's kind of odd because she knows from stories that TVs actually around this time were very rare. Like, they're very expensive, they're new technology, and people would cram into each other's houses just to be able to watch the TV. But apparently a television salesman named Mr. Magpie, played by Hot Fuzz actor Ron Cook, has been giving them away fairly cheaply. And the reason why everyone wants a TV is because of the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II, which took place in 1953. However, they soon discover that everything is not quite as it seems, as people are seemingly being taken from their homes, rushed out with kind of bags over their heads, or kind of with their faces shown, shoved into cars, and then taken away. And the Doctor and Rose can't quite understand why. They end up meeting up with a family, the Connollys. There's Eddie Connolly, the father, played by Jamie Foreman, his wife, Rita Connolly, played by Deborah Gile, and their son, Tommy, played by Roy Jennings. And from there, they kind of piece together what's going on. Like, the TVs are seemingly changing people, and they debut that mostly through the grandmother of the family, played by Margaret John. And I'm going to say something here about this episode that might be a little bit, oh, come on, or a little bit, how stupid could you be? But here we go. This episode, when this episode first aired, I would have been around 9 years old. And for a while, for me, this was actually the scariest episode of Series 2 for me. Okay, I mean, I don't hold the ultimate opinion on a Doctor Who episode's quality. Like, I'm sure there are other people who are going to say other things about it, but for me, for Series 2, I would usually say the best episode or the best story was the finale, Army of Ghosts and Doomsday. My guilty pleasure episode, the one that I like, but I wouldn't necessarily consider the best, was School Reunion, which is a pretty good one. And in terms of the weakest episode, I think that usually juggled between Love and Monsters or Fear Her, depending on what day it was. But for a while, The Idiot's Lantern for me was actually really scary. Like, I mean, they do a great job. Watching it through, they do a great job in tension, kind of building it up, especially with the grandma. Like, you can see the family downstairs just doing what they do, but as soon as they hear her thumping upstairs, everyone suddenly gets tense. And when the Doctor and Rose ask, what's wrong? They're just like, trust me, you haven't seen her. And it's just that moment of tension, just even seeing Tommy go up earlier to try and talk to his gran, like you can tell he evidently loves her so much, but he's still afraid. And his father, who can be seen to be a little bit abusive and controlling, he doesn't exactly help that, saying, give me the key. You're not going in to see her. None of us are going in to see her. And when they ultimately do reveal her and what the TV has done to her, spoiler alert still if you haven't seen the episode, or you don't remember, her face is blank. Literally, no eyes, no eyebrows, no nose, no mouth. Her face is just blank. And I'll I'll be honest, that was, I think, still a pretty scary moment. And I remember later on when Rose ends up falling prey to it, that I actually was scared. Like, seeing a blank Rose Tyler's face, that was pretty scary for me. Now, it turns out what's happened is there's an electrical being known as the Wire, and it has taken on the form of a TV personality played by Maureen Lipman. I don't know if this is supposed to represent someone who was kind of big on TV in the 1950s. I couldn't tell you. But I actually found this thing scary. Just the power, all the power they had, all that electrical energy, which the Doctor later explains, it feeds off the electrical activity of the brain, but it gorges and stuffs itself like an overfed pig. Apparently this creature, known as the Wire, it was denied physical form by its own kind, so it plans to get a kind of physical form or feed itself by the fact that everyone is going to be watching TV to watch the coronation, as this would have been one of the first times that humanity gathered around a television set to watch the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II. And just, while she does do while she does do a lot of comedy with this role, she is kind of comical with it, I still found The Wire scary. I mean, I had a family member who said they couldn't really be scared of this episode, they couldn't really be afraid of Maureen Lipman. But I don't know, I actually found her scary at that time. Anyway, the other person who I want to mention here, they do actually mention, is that when the Doctor tries to investigate what's happened and finds a lot of people with their faces gone, he is captured by the detective inspector in charge of this, Detective Inspector Bishop, played by Sam Cox, who is seemingly very by the books. Like, he wants to be able to do this, and the Doctor asks, well, do you want to know what's going on? Doesn't it drive you nuts? He's like, well, of course I do. Of course I want to find out what's going on. The only trouble is, with the coronation going and all the security needed, we haven't got the manpower. To which, yeah, I mean, you can definitely understand this guy. He's 1950s, he's old school, he wants to do things, he wants to investigate, but he hasn't got enough power to do so. But then, when the Doctor finds out that Rose's face is gone, oh, he's on the warpath, and he's going to stop them by any cause. Now, as I said, I did find this episode really scary when I was 9 years old. Having rewatched it again today, is it still the scariest episode of Series 2? Probably not. I mean, I think a lot of the episodes of Series 2 you could say are scary, and I'm sure other people are going to have their opinions on which episode is actually the scariest of Series 2, if any of them are scary for them. I mean, they may say the Impossible Planet two-parter, either the Cybermen two-parters, or even the Girl in the Fireplace. I think you could put in an argument to being really scary. But for me, for a long time, The Idiot's Lantern was the scariest episode of Series 2. It's not anymore, I don't think, but still, I'm glad I rewatched it, and I'm glad that I was rewatching it for a good cause. To remember the life of Queen Elizabeth II, who is now, sadly, no longer with us. Anyway, this review might have seemed a little out of the blue, but there you go. It's my quick rethoughts on The Idiot's Lantern. Anyway, until next time, see ya.